Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 9 a.m. by my watch, and I would like to call the meeting to order. But before we proceed, I would like to introduce to you the members of your board of directors via a short audiovisual presentation.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Pbcom Annual Shareholders Meeting. We would like to introduce your board of directors. Eric Recto, Chairman of the Board and Director. Leonardo Dio, Vice Chairman of the Board and Director. Patricia Macy, President and Chief Executive Officer and Director. Lucio Ko, Executive Committee Chairman and Director. Susan Ko, Director. Bunsit Carlos Chung, Director. Gregorio Yu, Director. Lebi Labra, Director. Jack Ekion Huang, Director. Hans Brinker Sikat, Director. Cecilia Borromeo, Independent Director. Jose Marinchan Jr., Independent Director. Stephen Anthony Cuniying, Independent Director. Conrado Gloria Jr., Independent Director. Teresita Herbosa, Independent Director. Henry Uy, Board Advisor. Emmanuel Mendoza, Board Advisor. Maria Teresa de la Rosa, Corporate Secretary. Your senior management team.
Okay, let's move on. May we know from the Secretary if notices for today's annual stockholders meeting were distributed to the stockholders as required by Securities and Exchange Commission, and if there is a quorum for the transaction of business.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The notices were distributed following the SEC guidelines and were published in 2 newspapers of general circulation for 2 consecutive days in both print and online formats. I also certify that there are present today in person and by proxy via video and audio conferencing stockholders owning a total of 424,960,367 shares, representing 88.41% of the authorized capital stock. We therefore have a quorum for the transaction of business.
Thank you. We now come to the next item, which is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of the stockholders meeting, which was the annual meeting held on June 18, 2025.
Mr. Chairman, to save time and considering that the minutes have been made available to the stockholders, I move that the reading of the minutes of the previous annual stockholders meeting held on June 18, 2025 be dispensed with and that such minutes be approved without reading.
Any second?
Second the motion.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that the reading of the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting be dispensed with and that the same be approved without reading. Are there any objections? I hear none. The motion is approved. The next item is the management report for the year ended December 31, 2025. And I'll call in the President, Ms. Macy, to discuss this in more detail.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to our shareholders, board of directors, fellow management team, and guests. I am pleased to report that 2025 was a banner year for Pbcom as we reached a net income of 2.55 billion. This is a 15.3% growth versus 2024 and sustained the 3-year CAGR of 15.9%. Driving the growth is improved interest income, which expanded 11.3% to 10.78 billion. Interest from loans and receivables reached 7.8 billion and from investment securities at 2.69 billion. ROA and ROE remains to be the focus on the bank. Return on assets is at 1.49%, while our return on equity is at 12.53%. Our assets grew 18.1%, reaching 185.3 billion. While loans book ended flat, the securities portfolio grew to 63.7 billion. Total deposits expanded by 18% to 138.1 billion, with growth in CASA at 12.5%, ending at 62.2 billion. High-cost deposits reached 68.2 billion, registering a 23.5% growth. Low-cost deposit is at 45% of total deposits. While liabilities grew to 163.8 billion, our capital sustained year-on-year increase through organic growth. Capital is at 21.4 billion even after the payment of cash dividend in 2025. Our CAR and CET1 ratios are above regulatory requirements and more than adequate to sustain our continued growth. CAR is at 16.5%, while CET1 is at 14.3%. In 2025, Pbcom also marked major milestones. The bank declared and paid a special cash dividend of 1 peso per share for the first time since 1997. Forbes Asia likewise honored Pbcom for the second time as best under a billion. This year, we are also proud to advise that we've reached our 100th branch with simultaneous opening in Butuan and Santiago. I thank the board and management for a successful 2025. What gives me confidence is not only what we have achieved, but what we are embarking on. Thus, we look to this year, 2026 result with optimism and determination. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you very much for that bit of very good news. I think 2025 was indeed another banner year. It's been a series of banner years, as most of you hopefully have observed, and we are hoping that 2026, in spite of the headwinds that we clearly will be facing, that we will be able to overcome most of those challenges, of which we will all have to wait, be patient, and work harder to, like I said, meet those challenges. But again, thank you, Maeve, and to the management for having helped achieve another banner year in 2025.
Mr. Chair.
We propose to take up the discussion of the report and any other matters which any stockholder may wish to take up at the end of the meeting, so that we can proceed with the agenda in an orderly fashion and have more time for discussion later on. Can I request a motion on the management report?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the management report just rendered on the audited financial statements be approved and made part of the records of the bank.
I second the motion.
Are there any objections? I hear none. The motion is approved. The next item is the ratification and approval of all the corporate acts of the Board of Directors and Management since the last annual stockholders meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move that all acts, proceedings, transactions, and agreements authorized by and entered into by the Board of Directors, Executive Committee, and officers of the bank for and on behalf of the bank from the last annual stockholders meeting today, as shown in the minutes of the meeting of the board and its committees, as well as in the information statement, be approved, confirmed, and ratified.
I second the motion.
A motion has been made and seconded. Are there any objections from the floor? I hear none. The motion is approved. The next item on the agenda is the election of the members of the Board of Directors for the ensuing year. It is mandatory that independent directors be elected to the board. There are at least 5 seats for independent directors in our board. Only nominees whose names appear in the final list of candidates shall be eligible for election. Madam Secretary, can you inform the body of the nominations that the corporation has received for election to the board?
Mr. Chairman, the Nominations Committee has received, evaluated, and approved the nominations for election of the following as members of the Board of Directors for the year 2026-2027. For the regular directors, we have Mr. Eric Recto, Mr. Leonardo B. Dayaw, Ms. Patricia May Smith, Mr. Lucio Ko, Ms. Susan Ko, Mr. Bunsit Carlos Chu, Mr. Gregorio Yu, Mr. Levi Labra, Mr. Jack Wang, Mr. Hans Sikat. For the independent directors, we have Ms. Cecilia Borromeo, Mr. Jose Marin Chan, Mr. Stephen Anthony Kuning, Mr. Conrado A. Gloria, and Attorney Teresita Herbosa.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the nominations be closed and that the secretary be directed and authorized to cast all votes of the stockholders present or represented at this meeting equally among the 15 nominees.
Second the motion.
Thank you very much. Are there any objections? I hear none. The motion is approved. The secretary is hereby directed and authorized to cast all votes of the stockholders present or represented at this meeting equally among the nominees. I now therefore declare the 15 nominees as the duly elected members of the board of directors for the current year to act as such until their successors are duly elected and qualified in accordance with the bylaws. The next item is appointment of the bank's external auditor. Sorry, for that, congratulations again to all the directors that have been elected. So you said the next item is the appointment of the bank's external auditor. Go ahead.
I move that the accounting firm of SGV and Company be reappointed as external auditors of the company for the current year ending December 31, 2026.
I second the motion.
Are there any objections? I hear none. The motion is approved. The firm SGV and Company is therefore reappointed as external auditor of the company for the current year ending December 31, 2026. As stated earlier, we can now have the discussion on the management report and other matters which the stockholders may wish to take up. Participating stockholders are also given the opportunity to submit questions or remarks through this live stream portal by using the Q&A button, which you can find at the bottom of your screens. Stockholders may alternatively send in questions via email to the corporate secretary at the address flashed on your screen. Madam Secretary, are there any questions from the stockholders?
Mr. Chairman, we have received no questions.
If there are no questions or other matters that anyone wants to take up, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
I second the motion.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the meeting be adjourned. If there are no objections, the meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you very much to everyone who attended.